Hi guys, welcome back to the next episode of the SamDjanShow. Today we're talking about the rise and fall of Apple, so let's get into it. Welcome back to the next episode of the SamDjanShow. We talk pop culture. Today we're talking about the rise and fall of Apple. Before I do it, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell as on them. So here we're talking about the rise and fall of Apple. Now, we know Apple is a technology company. It was founded in 1976 by Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs passed away in 2011. And I honestly feel like the downfall of Apple came after Steve Jobs' death. Um, 'Cause I think with Steve Jobs, there was what it was the iPhone 4S was the last one when he was alive, or was it 4? I don't know. But yeah, today we're talking about Apple. Now, those who don't know, those who don't know, I'm not a huge fan of. Like, I don't hate Apple. I just don't like the iPhones. Um, Now I have had products. I've had an iPad. I've had an iPod. I still have the iPod. I will talk about that. But I have used an iMac. My dad has a MacBook Pro, which I have used. My brothers and sisters both have iPhones. I think my dad has an iPhone. He doesn't use it no more. He uses Samsung S23. Now I have the Samsung Galaxy S22, which I've had it for I think a year, and I still think Android is probably just better because I feel like it's easier to work with, and I feel like when you use iOS, it's like when you use an iOS, it's just um. And I think iTunes. I think with iTunes you can't even like you can't down. I don't think you can download stuff on Apple. I don't. I think you can. I think music and stuff you can't. But I think maybe on maybe some. I don't really know. There's so let's get into it. So I was talking about iPhone. iPhone, the biggest product Apple has, the iPhone. Now, this started back in 2007. We currently have on iPhone 15 right now. Now, my problems with the iPhone stem from from the original. I think 6. 7 is when I don't think 7 is bad. 7 is when they got rid of the headphone jack. Which I think they were the first ones to do it, and obviously Samsung stopped doing it. Up to S10. I think if you get an S21, you don't get it anymore. Which I mean, I'm fine with it, to be honest. I like the ones they could put in the charge. I think they're fine, and it works the same. But iPhone S15 right now. Now they've changed to USB C. I know Apple isn't happy with that because Apple they were known with the lightning chargers. You've probably seen lightning chargers. Um, they used to do that, but then obviously they've changed USB C because I think most people have USB C. Samsung use. I think pretty much any phone, Android phone has it USB C, and that also has fast charging, so that charges it way faster. So Apple were mad about that because they like the lightning charger. So starting from the iPhone 15, it's going to be USB C cable, and also the iPhone. I think the iPad was USB C as well. The iPhone, I feel like the designs they're pretty much the same. I think since iPhone, I think 6, like I think when you get to 10, obviously I remember when the iPhone could bend. That was iPhone 6, but yeah, iPhone, I just don't like. I'll give it this. The one thing I think the iPhone has over the Samsung is that I think the security it's much the protection is like the virus thing is much more protected on here than on Samsung. I'll give it that, but I'm just not a huge fan of iPhone. And so yeah, now let's get to iPad. Now iPad is the tablet. It started in 2010. There's new ones that came out 2022, which this is the new one right now. You can see it doesn't have the home button. They got rid of it. There was still the iPhone. They got rid of it too, but yeah, the iPad. No, iPad. I used to have an iPad. I sold it, but I think the iPads are fine. I don't think there's a big complaint about the iPads. But maybe there is. You can look them up. But yeah, now the iPad. You could pretty much. The only thing is you can't call on it, which iPad it does pretty much what the iPhone does, and yeah, and yeah. So now let's move on to iPod. Now iPod was now there's 4 iPods there. The first one is the Shuffle. The second one is the Nano. The third one is the Classic, and the fourth one is the Touch. Now you basically play music on it. The Touch was like a touchscreen one, so you could go on the internet, you could do anything. I think I know why they go with an iPad, because I thought there's no really point of having a device that you can play music, which you can play. You can just use that on the iPhone, the iPad. I don't think you need that. The thing about the Touch is there was no data on it, so if you go outside, you couldn't use. If you were to go outside, you couldn't use the internet, which was the downside to it. Now I have an iPod 5th generation, but I can't get into it because it was an old account I had, and I don't know the password to it, so I don't use it. But yeah, after the 7th generation of the iPod Touch, I decided just discontinue iPod last year. Now iPod started back in 2001. And I get why iPod they got rid of it, because like if you wanted to listen to music, you can just listen to it on an iPad, and MacBook Pro, and iMac, iPhone. So that's why they got rid of iPod. Now we got MacBook Pro. Now MacBook Pro, my dad has an iPad, a MacBook Pro. I have used it. I think the MacBook Pro, I think it's good. I think if you want to like edit, I think editing is better because you can use Final Cut Pro. You can use oh, what was the iMovie? But yeah. Now now obviously it's iOS. They don't use the Mac OS. They don't use the Windows, which I honestly prefer Windows. I think Windows is easier to. I think it's easier to learn than the MacBook, than the OS. And yeah, so the MacBook Pro is good. It's fine. I think if you're doing editing, I use some. I use Movie Maker. I do have Premiere Pro. So Premiere Pro is like film standard. I think you can use it for films and stuff. I mean, you do a Final Cut Pro. So that's MacBook Pro, and then we got an iMac, which I go to college. They do have iMacs. I think they did, but I think they still have them. Like iMacs is, which we use it for editing and stuff, and like to edit videos, would use it for that stuff. And I think the iMac is good. I just feel like the OS X sometimes is kind of yeah. It's like it's if you want to learn it, it's kind of hard. And now we got the Apple Watch, which is basically a touchscreen watch. I have seen them. I haven't. I just have no interest in an Apple Watch. And also we have the Apple Vision Pro Glass. This is coming in 2024, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I think the downfall Apple came after Steve Jobs died, because iPhone 5 I think was fine. 6 was fine. I think 7, 8, and 10. I just don't like. I'm not. I don't hate Apple. I'm just not a huge fan of Apple. I do have an iPad. I have Apple TV Plus. I still have the iPod. So pretty much that is the rise and fall of Apple. So so guys, thank you for watching my video. I'll see you in my next video. Bye. And yeah, so.